Hello and welcome to the GetsNatty podcast. My guest today is Max, aka Hi5 if you're still alive. Max is a TikTok sensation with over 600,000 followers, a podcaster, a video editor in his private public life or whatever you call it. Also, he is a raving and inveterate homosexual. Max, how are you doing today?
The last part is the one that I vibrated so closely to. That was the closest to my frequency. It's just an inveterate homosexual.
It's really true.
I'm doing well. I don't know. I'm doing okay. It's getting warmer. That's nice. Days are getting longer. That's nice. Too hot in my room, so I might start sweating.
Same here too, and same with the sweating. Oh, the GetsNatty podcast is brought to you by Coke Zero, now called Coke Zero Sugar, with a very, very slick looking can. I bought a 12-pack last night. It was great. So I'd like to thank the Coca-Cola company. You've done some fucked up shit in this world, but the soda's good.
Weird promo.
Yeah, they want to go, like, they read somewhere in their market research that Gen Z likes irony. So, yeah. No one's been congratulating me for this huge Coca-Cola brand deal I've gotten. So.
I sure hope they're huge fans of human rights violations also.
The truth is they kind of look the other way in most cases. They just want to sell soda. And I love that for them. So Max lives in Blade Runner 2049. What's that like?
It's definitely nice. It's a little sci-fi. I'm not sure if I'm real or replicant. And I'm not particularly interested to find out. No, this is I'm in my studio apartment, my suite. And this is the view. No, it's the background.
That's like, if you kept up with the bit, I was going to go, so do you have an AI girlfriend from Cuba?
Girlfriend? No. I'm not going to date Ana de Armas, but I think gay people want to, okay, wait, let me ask what the content can be on YouTube. What are the rules? No F word, no F slur, definitely.
Just try to avoid the F slur and the F word, the regular F word. I would just use it sparingly.
Don't use it. Okay. Yeah, well, no, because it's like try to avoid the F slur was like an interesting sentence.
Also,
I'll try.
Okay, I'm reminded of something. So, as mentioned, you're a raging homosexual.
Yeah, raging, definitely.
Would you have relations with Ana de Armas?
No.
Really?
I wouldn't even fucking talk to that bitch. No, I'm just kidding. No, she seems so cool.
It's a little harsh, Max. She seems so lovely.
I'm not going to have sex with her. Sorry, Anna. I know you want to. And girl, stop fucking messaging me. So I gotta start swearing. No, yeah.
See, Max is funny.
She's a great actor. I know people who are they want to sleep with her though.
She is. I think she is I remember the first time I saw her in a movie. I think it was some movie where Jonah Hill's selling guns, and it was it's like looking at the sun. She's so beautiful.
War Dogs.
Like it hurts. War Dogs, yeah.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I do have a friend who kind of looks like her actually. I'll send you the Instagram thing later, but it's honestly quite striking.
Good for her, because those are some great features.
I'll let her know you said. What's going on? So what should we talk about on this podcast today?
I thought we'd talk a lot about TikTok, being public figures, the pressure to create art versus the pressure to put out content for the grist mill that is being a content creator of little to some renown.
The distinction is interesting too. How would you distinguish the two? Do you think you've ever made art on TikTok?
That is a great question.
Yeah, because your dog wants to know too.
Well, okay. My dog is here for love. Nina, you're a great girl, but we're not doing humping today.
Today.
I read a distinction once that art is anything done without the express purpose of survival or reproduction. So in that case, I do art all the time. But what you really mean is have I made any art that I'm proud of or I feel is important? Yeah. And I'm not. I mean, sometimes I'll be like, I take pride in my ability to have a dry sense of humor and my ability to have a zany, kooky sense of humor. So there's times I've made like jokes that I find to be really funny. So I guess I'm proud of that. But the thing is, I used to be a musician. I've had long conversations with the lovely and talented Josh Wallen, my lovely significant other, who is also a TikToker of some renown. The thing is, for me, that doesn't so much matter to me because my like artistic outlet, where I like bare my soul or whatever, was being a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
And so with that taken away from me because of I lost my singing voice a year ago, we'll make a distinction between like...
Specifically on TikTok, though, have you made anything that you feel proud of there?
I've made like jokes that I think are funny, or I'll sometimes think like I looked good, but I wouldn't say I've done anything important. But that's like fine by me because like as an artist, my first love and my first outlet, and all I was ever interested in was being like a singer-songwriter. Yeah. I lost my voice about a year ago from a car accident, which sucked.
Add some sad music here too.
Yeah, a little piano music.
Yeah, like the little zoom in too.
So I kind of just like care more about like being famous, and like just entertaining people. Like I don't feel like a need to make important art. Like the end goal, if I have any right now, like my vague goal is to be like a talk show host type deal. Like I don't necessarily think Jimmy Kimmel or Conan O'Brien is an artist. There's a lot of art to what they do, but they're not Picasso or Basquiat or even someone like John Lennon or Mozart, who are making like quote important art. How do you feel about that same question?
I don't know. I mean, I think there are things that I'm definitely proud of. I think I'm starting to like not really be able to tell the difference between content and art, just because it all kind of blurs together quite a lot when you're online so much. Where it's like I'll be watching a movie and I'll start comparing it to TikTok videos that I've seen that are more entertaining.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like I'll start seeing some long form stuff that's like, well, it's just kind of a weird distinction, I guess, to create. But it's like I'm proud of a lot of the stuff that I've made, though. There's some stuff that had a lot more editing that I used to do, and I like that stuff mostly better than the stuff that I've been doing lately.
I remember that short film you made, which was artsy, and it's something I would have been proud of.
Yeah, no, that I'm definitely proud of. That was for a film contest. They did like a film contest on TikTok, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta get like all my film school friends together and let's just make something and see if it goes anywhere. You
should be able to see this to the right of Max's head, audience, right now.
What'd you say?
I'm gonna clip it in like right next to your head. So.
Okay, but don't have the music in there because we got disqualified instantly because the music was licensed music and they didn't say you can't use it. I figured it was like the same thing as the TikTok rules. So I was like, okay, if it's on TikTok, I can use the song. And I was like, apparently not. Also, no one American was allowed to enter, which I feel like they really should have said.
Regardless, I mean, like, chances are you wouldn't have won anyway. No, but I'm saying the good thing is you made something that you're proud of is the real thing that you can then also put anywhere else. Like, they don't own it, I assume.
Yeah. And it's like, just as like a practicing technique, I feel like TikTok for editing in general is like if you edit something every day, you're just going to get better at editing. So right. I feel like just as like a practice, it's like it's been great.
Well, your question's interesting because I think it's speaking to a different question or a different thing that we've both talked about, in that TikTok and being a TikToker doesn't necessarily reward being artistic. It reward like sometimes you've had this complaint. Josh, the lovely and talented Josh, and myself have had this complaint. Like, sometimes the most successful things are like the least creative things you do. Or when one thing I'll give you credit for is you never use sounds, like trending sounds or do trends. I do, and Josh does, just because it's easy. And like sometimes there's like an opportunity to like say something funny or interesting. But in either case, it's like we've had this thing like, oh, I gotta put something up. I'm gonna make some funny joke. Is it a joke I've made? Is it a good joke? And like, or like there's a weird kind of, I don't want to call it guilt, But like if you make something that does really, really well and you don't think it's all that funny or all that clever, you're like, that's cool. Versus the like, I'll be proud of like, there's TikToks I've made that have done, 8,000 views or something that I was like, that's fucking funny.
Yeah.
And at least 8,000 people, at least 4,000 of those people saw it and like got it. And that in some ways can be more satisfying sometimes, but I'd rather get lots of views every time, of course.
Yeah. Your audio's a little weird. I think if you move your phone, I think the mic might, that changes the, or it makes a difference.
How's that?
Yeah, that's way better.
Excellent. Also, I have.
No, I don't know, but I don't know. TikTok is not like, it's not necessarily rewarding in like an artistic sense, but it's definitely rewarding in like look how many likes I got kind of way.
Well, there's like, we're all lucky and that we got in at the right time, because I have to assume this window is closing, but I can't imagine it's ever been easier to reach a lot of eyeballs than
definitely not.
than with TikTok, especially because however the algorithm works, it's far more democratized than YouTube or Instagram, as far as I could tell.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the algorithm for TikTok is like, that's like the only place that ever existed up to the point it was kind of released where you could get like that famous. Other than Vine, I think Vine was like similar.
I missed Vine. Max is cut out. Whatever.
Build an audience there.
Master Skywalker, whatever shall we do? But whatever you just said will be on your end in the audio, so that's excellent.
Yeah. I saw it was kind of glitching out, so I was like, oh, okay, all right.
I've complained about, and we just spent 10 minutes complaining about TikTok. I've complained about that aspect of TikTok, and I've complained about the uneven and nonsensical censorship on TikTok that literally makes no sense. But all those complaints, they all stand. But the fact of the matter is, TikTok has been very, very, very good to me. And
of course. And that's like one of the things where it's like, man, I'm glad that I built an audience here, but I fucking hate this app. It's so weird because it's like the other day I got post banned for a week. I haven't been able to post for a week. Yeah, because I made that video where I said something about like, it was like something to the effect of like, if you're a lesbian, do a backflip. I don't remember. But someone commented like, I'm bisexual, and I said, do a round off then. And a round off is like a cartwheel with a flip at the end. That comment got flagged, and I got banned from posting. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What is that? It was automatically recognized. I appealed it, and I just have gotten no response to the appeal.
Like the appeal process, like
bizarre stuff.
I got live banned again, which happens I had gone like 3 weeks without it, and I was like, oh, I guess I've beat this. Like I know how to operate now. But I got one yesterday, and I was live for like 3 hours, and I appealed it, and the appeal came back. I lost the appeal within 2 minutes. So they have sophisticated AI that can parse through 3 hours of audio and determine whether I'm. I don't know, and it's.
I think they just automatically like live bans. They always just take people off, because I got banned from live last night too, from the other account that I do, and I was specifically trying not to say anything too fucked up, because I'd already gotten banned off of live on there, and it's not my account. It's like a corporate account. So I was on live with the boss of that account, like the guy who owns that company, and we got live banned. So it was like, all right, well, I didn't even swear, so I don't know what the fuck I said. I just said that Disney adults don't deserve rights, so I don't know if that was like it's like maybe that's a protected class I wasn't aware of.
That could have been what it was.
Yeah.
Looking back, the thing I was saying, like, looking back, what I might have been saying, which was, I said something like, it annoys me how sometimes people in the Northeast and on the West Coast, coastal elites, it annoys me how sometimes they dehumanize people in the South and in the middle of the country. And and I was like, don't tell me you're not doing this, because I have these feelings too, just from virtue of being raised here. And like, if I have slight of these feelings and I'm like aware that this is a problem, you saying all this messed up stuff definitely has, and like maybe like that, which is, it's ironic, and like it's not an app that like, I don't know what do they want people to talk about on TikTok Live.
Well, that's right. It's like they don't have any like standardized guidelines for what you can't say. There's no this is what you can't say. Also, people in the fucking Midwest say that we don't deserve rights in the Midwest, so I don't know what they're so upset about. Like everybody talks like that. This shit sucks.
Well, it's fine, but in both cases, it doesn't. In both cases, it's like it's messed up, and there's nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah, stupid.
But it's funny. But you scroll through TikTok Live now. Everyone is like God's not real, dummy, and then the next one, God is light, and then the next one, Republicans are evil. Next one, Democrats are stupid, and it's like all these are. I can't imagine how are these things like staying up when like the actual premise is something where it's going to be heated debate.
Yeah, or it's like LGBT is a sin. It's like, oh, well, I didn't. Why? Now I gotta watch this for a second because I gotta find out what it's always the stupidest shit.
Yeah, well, the point is that they have like their live streams with a premise like expressly there to incite arguments and like. So how are they like avoiding? Or is it just a matter of like is my problem just that like I always keep an eye on like how my lives perform. I'm talking about my solo lives because when I do lives with Josh, those do huge numbers. But even on my solo lives,
have like thousands of viewers sometimes.
Yeah, that's not unheard
of.
It's gotta
be fucked up.
It's a wild ride. But in the case of just mine, like I do much better than people with my amount of followers tend to do. So I think it might just be a matter of like the extra traffic could be what's. But then again, I don't know.
You like report it or something. I don't even think it requires reporting though. I don't think you have to report. I feel like if they see they're like this guy's got a mustache and he's talking to kids, get him. It's like that kind of thing. It like doesn't make any sense.
Jesus Christ! If there was a button on TikTok I could press that could say it won't be shown to anyone under 18, I would press it.
You can.
No, you can.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they don't even provide that option where it's like you can't like post as an 18 plus profile. So it's like, so what the fuck? That's your responsibility, not mine.
Josh is saying you could do an 18 plus live.
Yep.
But does that?
You can on TikTok or on Twitch? I know Twitch you can.
No, on TikTok you can.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Well,
can you fuck on there? Sorry, no, I can't say that. But you can.
But even if that's the case, I still don't. But I'm just doing that. I'll do that anyway. But that's not going to. That doesn't mean you can.
You'll fuck on there? Or
no, it doesn't mean you can. You'll be spared from having like a non-nuanced algorithm determine that you're being hateful.
If 18 plus live got banned for minor safety, that shit would be so funny.
Well, it would be funny and also absurd, and also is something that could totally fucking happen.
Absurd and therefore consistent.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's like that's like such a small complaint too, though, when it comes to like TikTok, where it's like, man, their standards are really weird. Their guidelines are really weird and a little bit like unclear. Because it's like, I mean, ultimately, it's like I wouldn't have an audience at all if I didn't have TikTok. So I guess you kind of just got to deal with it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, you can't complain about the United States if you live there. It's like, no, I'm going to because I live here. So I take back what I said. I didn't mean it.
Right. That's the other thing. Like one of my big hobby horses and my big like when people like we both get hate comments directed towards us or just negative comments in general. And it's like
you and Josh or me and you.
Well, all three of us. Maybe this isn't a pissing contest of who gets the most, unless you want it to be. If it were, Josh would win. But
Josh would win. Yes, we both acknowledge that.
But the point is like, if you express like, oh, that kind of sucks. That isn't. Also, you're not attached to that kind of sucks sometimes, or it makes me feel shitty sometimes. Attached to that isn't like surprised that it's happening or thinking that I deserve any protection from it more than anyone else. Because it's a favorite thing of galaxy-brained people on TikToks. If you express that, they'll go, well, you're the one who wanted to dupe online. So, but you didn't. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not saying that. And my soundbite is always, if I worked at a grocery store and I didn't like loading stocking crackers. I said, oh, I can't stand stocking crackers. No one's like, well, you're the one who decided to work at the grocery store.
So don't work at Locally.
Yeah.
That's a grocery store that's local. I just doxed myself. Oh my fucking God.
I'll dox myself with ShopRite. That's New York, New Jersey.
And show the front of your house too. Fuck it, you know.
Hell yeah. How do you cope with? Well, actually, here's a better question because we could talk about hate comments all day. How do you feel about? How does it make you feel when someone recognizes you in public?
Instantly terrified and also flattered. I do think that I have a weird relationship with like being a quote unquote public figure because I feel like look, I'm just gonna say public figure because it's like I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's like sometimes I get recognized by people I've never met before, so that's like I'm just gonna say public figure.
Same. It's very difficult, like describing accurately.
Yeah. Myself
and my image or whatever without sounding conceited or like I'm being like overly falsely modest.
Right, and I always try to like myself. It's like, please just understand. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just describing things in the words that we use, like with the words that we use. I don't know what to say, but it's like if I get recognized by someone, I feel like I can't be myself, and I feel I gotta get over that because I'm kind of generally sarcastic with my friends, right? But if someone recognizes me and goes like, "Oh, hey, I love your TikToks," I can't be like, "That's so cool, shut the fuck up." You know, like I can't like that can't be my response because there's automatically this kind of power imbalance where it's like, oh, they recognize me, they like things that I've made. And so if I say something, it's going to mean more in some context than like if they didn't recognize me. You know what I mean?
It depends on the situation for me. Like if I meet someone on the street, I'll just, and like they're passing by, I'll be like, oh, thank you very much. Yeah. If I meet someone like at like a party or something, and like I've had situations where people are like kind of gushing, and I go out of my way to like let them know like I'm just a dude, you know, and try to make them
like have that moment.
Try to make them comfortable. Also, like, you know, to be quite honest, like the image I portray on TikTok or on Instagram or whatever, even here, is not that much different than who I am in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, even, like...
I noticed that.
I would say that that's kind of true for you. Like, you have, like, your... When you're, like on that lesbian TikTok you just made that went viral. You don't talk like that in real life, but that's still Max. And that might be... You might affect that voice and tone if you were, like, telling a story or telling a joke in real life.
I think, like... Because, like, the person I am on TikTok is the person I am when I'm being funny.
Right.
Like, there are other times when it's like I'm not being funny. It's like I'm at a funeral. It's like, you're not talking like you do on TikTok. Yeah, my mom died. You know what I mean? It's like I can't fucking be at a funeral saying... Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I mean, I would say, like, the cadence that I have on TikTok is the cadence that I have when I get into sort of a rhythm of, like, being funny in general. And so, you know, people talk to me and they're I don't know. I feel like there's, like, anytime I have to function under, like, an expectation, I feel like I crumble instantly under that pressure. So,
I'd be lying if I didn't say I loved it.
You love it? So you love it. You love the attention and the...
I want fame more than I want money. Not that I don't want money, but...
That's crazy.
I'll admit that about whatever it is, the pathology, whatever something's wrong with me, because I want fame more than money.
Don't say it again. Don't say it anymore. Actually cut that out, because that's crazy. That's so crazy. You want fame more than money?
Well,
what do you do with fame? Can you imagine being, like, the most famous homeless person? No, you can't say that. But, like, you know what I mean? It's like...
Well, I think if you're famous, you have the ability to make money.
I think if I was like rich, I would never fucking talk to anyone ever again. I would never talk. I would move to a cabin.
Does being here's a question to piggyback on the being recognized thing, and like the anxiety or whatever around it. Does being someone who gets recognized in public semi-regularly or very regularly or whatever it is, does that make you sympathize more with celebrities who deal with that, or when they complain, or maybe maybe the press is lying about them, or just like...
I feel like, you know, that comparison will be like it depends on who it is, right? It's like if it's like people who are constantly harassed. Like, you know that thing of Tobey Maguire where he's trying to pull out of, like, a parking lot, and he's like, get the fuck out of the way, there are cars there, I can't see. You know that video?
Yeah.
it's like I feel for him because it's like that's psychotic. There's a difference between like, hey, I love your work, and people like coming up to you and like flashing a camera in your face. You know what I mean?
Well, it never. It's weird, and I'm about to say something about Toby Maguire's if I know him and know a lot about him, which is one thing. Like I never get used to people talking about me who don't know me, and like making like broad assumptions about me, like I'm about to do for Toby Maguire.
Yes, okay, perfect. I love how it's created, there's like an understanding now. Like empathy.
Apparently, and from what I've seen, since day one, he's been like, no, fuck you, paparazzi. I am not dealing with your shit. This is my private life. I will treat you like dirt because you're commodifying me, and no. F you. And there's a ton of pictures of him like.
Yeah.
And I kind of respect that. Because maybe, it could be maybe he's shy, or maybe he doesn't want to deal with these people, and that's how he deals with it. I mean, would it be easier for him to be cordial? Probably, but I can't I can't I can empathize with someone who like feels differently about this stuff, and maybe he liked it for a minute, and then like someone like punched his girlfriend or whatever, like his girl or something happened,
Yeah, I think if it got really extreme, I'd be able to empathize a little more. But it's like it's never been anything like bad. I've never had a bad experience where someone's like, "I know you from TikTok." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, cool." And they're like, "I fucking hate you. I'm gonna kill you." It's like nobody's ever done anything weird or aggressive because of it.
Right.
Somebody took a picture of me in Chipotle. That was a little weird. It didn't come up to me. And that was weird.
You got paparazzi.
Yeah, that was a little weird. It was like I look over. I also live in like a pretty small city in Illinois. So it's like, I mean, it's not small. It's like it's a big city, I guess, but it's like all separated. So it's like every little piece of the city seems like a different little town. And it's like, so I went into Chipotle, and then I like looked. I looked over, and there was somebody like at the end of the line, and they were going like this, and like taking pictures. I was like, that's fucking weird. That's weird.
Well, the thing is, you got to remember, for every person who recognizes you and says hello, how many people recognize you and say nothing? It's got to be more.
Respect to them.
I would imagine like you're getting recognized more than you know, because not everyone.
Yeah.
And another thing.
I mean, it's definitely possible, but it's like it's just weird to like do that from far. Like but like imagine this too. It's like I think they're taking pictures of me. They're like taking pictures of like the girl who works at Chipotle.
And then you feel like
pretty, and they're just creepy.
Yeah,
and then I look over, I just got caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah, and then or like they're not taking pictures of you, and you think they are, and then you feel like the world's biggest conceited weirdo.
Yeah, or it's like they're doing it for like a Reddit thread or something. It's like pretty girls I saw at the restaurant, like some creeps on Reddit, and then like someone on the thread's like, "Hey, is that the guy from TikTok?"
Right.
You know what I
you
mean?
just happen to be there, like with a shoving a burrito in your mouth. Shout out Chipotle.
Can I get more rice? I say it every time. Can I get more rice? And I feel embarrassed every time I ask. I just love rice so much, but I feel like that's a weird character trait to love rice that much. Can I get more rice? They do another half scoop. I'm like, a little more. Oh, I should just see a full scoop of rice.
They're not getting paid a lot. They don't care. The worst they could say is no. It's like, when you tell a kid, like, ask the pretty girl out, the worst she could say is no. Yeah. Actually, that's not the worst she could say. The worst she could say is, you're terrible, I would never be with you. None of my friends will ever be with you. You should just stop. Yeah. That's worse than
Your
no.
head looks like an oval.
But the worst a Chipotle employee could say to you is no. So don't be afraid.
No, that's true. I mean, that's true, but I am scared because if a Chipotle employee ever did say, no, you can't have more rice, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably never go back to Chipotle and hide my face in shame for the rest. It's like, no, you can't have more rice. It's like, wait, really? It's like, that's crazy. Wow. What are you guys doing? There's a rice shortage?
Max, they will never think about that interaction again. You just go, when they tell you no, you just go,
no,
okay.
My response will make them never forget it. I'll spit.
I had a terrible interaction at a Chipotle story time. This isn't that interesting a story. I went to a Chipotle. It was after the pandemic, and it was one of the things where like the store was open, but you had to use the app. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. I'm in the store. I don't want to download the app. We're talking together. Can you make me a quesadilla? And like finally they're like, fine. And then the guy made me a kid quesadilla after I explained over and over again I wanted the regular new quesadilla, which is pictured right there. So he makes me a new quesadilla. He's arguing with me, yelling at me, the kid. And then finally the manager had to come out to apologize because I was like doing my best not to be like, but at a certain point I'm like, you don't speak to me
What
like that.
What did your best look like? Was it like you said you were doing your best, so like you were upset though?
I was trying to be a responsible adult. I was upset, but I wasn't. I was very keen not to be like the Karen, for lack of the better word.
Yeah.
And I was iterating like over and over again. Like I could just go somewhere else and get a slice of pizza. And he's like, no, we'll make you the quesadilla. I'm like, are you sure? Okay. And then and then he started like yelling at me. And again, what we're saying about famous people. Maybe this guy was just at the end of his rope because he'd been dealing with horrible people all day. So,
yeah.
But I don't know what the point of that story is. Another thing about fame.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Maybe we should.
See, this is what I'm saying. We can't qualify for. Just say fame. Who can, if they think we're conceited, they think we're conceited. How many followers do you have on TikTok, bitch? I'm just kidding.
And hey, anyone who's listening thus far knows we're both wildly insecure at this point, right?
We're gay. So I'm probably autistic. Like, just let us have this one thing.
Right. Let us say we're like quasi-famous. The thing is, though, like we'll just leave this with you. Like, what's your best performing TikTok in terms of pure views that you've had?
So it was the horse one still.
How many?
If you want to become a horse, 10.4 million views.
Okay. Do you know how many people watch Jimmy Kimmel in a night?
Yeah.
How many?
I actually just looked this up. No, I'm just kidding. Can you imagine? No, it's got to be like, what, 1 million, 2 million maybe?
2 million would be like the best night ever. For
Jimmy Kimmel?
For a late night talk show. It's probably like...
That man is not fucking funny. Sorry, but I just want like...
I go way back. I go way back with Jimmy, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree.
Is there something I was like being mean to him?
I don't care. No. I like actually like his whole like comedic crew, which includes Adam Carolla, Dave Damashek, and Bill Simmons. I've been listening to all those guys.
I like his wife. That's all I got.
His wife's pretty.
For Jimmy Kimmel.
And she's...
The Oscars, that shit... Oh, my God. That was so embarrassing. I felt embarrassed for him.
He's lost his edge, as many people. I mean, he's like 52 years old.
Jimmy.
But the point is, like, the idea that when you've put out, and I would say that your numbers per week are on par, even though you're doing 8-second videos, and there is a qualitative or quantitative difference between an 8-second video and a guy doing an hour talk show. But still, in terms of people seeing you specifically in a week, I would say your numbers specifically are on par with how many people see, certainly people on basic cable and venues that like we used to consider like, oh, you've made it and famous. So like, it's not that strange actually that like people are recognizing you. And again, that goes back to like the whole like TikTok is pretty fucking amazing in that way. That because you can't like, I mean, I guess people post something on YouTube and it goes viral, but that not quite in the same way that it does on TikTok from what I've seen.
Sure, yeah. Again, it's like it's a 2-hour show. So in terms of how much of you they're absorbing or remembering, I think there's a big difference.
Well, I mean, what leave it with Jimmy Kimmel. What he's doing is more valuable because he's got an engaged audience. If it's like,
don't ever say that to me again. That Jimmy Kimmel's doing something more bad.
I mean, more valuable
Say
to
a different one.
He's
Conan O'Brien.
Conan on TBS. Conan on TBS. Yeah. He's generating more like income for advertisers and stuff, there is a distinction to be made between the 8 seconds and the hour-long show with an engaged audience. Yet, in terms of pure numbers, and in fact, like I would say, your numbers in a given week on TikTok would match up pretty favorably. If not, probably more people would be seeing you in a given week on TikTok than we're seeing Conan on TBS. Especially.
That's definitely true. Because TBS, what are you doing, Conan? Get out of there. Start doing a Twitch channel or something.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and that's this weird thing. You're smiling at your pithy joke, but that's actually a great point.
Point it out. I get insecure.
Because like
no, I totally know what you mean.
YouTube and Twitch are now what like NBC and HBO used to be. At least in terms of like.
Well, yeah. It's also like, do people still have TV if they're yet like younger than 47? And I specifically picked that number for a reason.
I'm younger than 47 and I don't. But sometimes I think about why not with all the money I'm spending on streaming.
No, but streaming is like, there's a lot more choice. You don't have to wait for something to come on, and there's no commercials for the most part. Hulu just reintroduced commercials back into their movies, though.
Ooh.
I'm like, I'm gonna watch Tubi for free. What? This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I get sucked into having like traditional TV, either by way of YouTube TV or whatever, every fall because I watch football. I watch the NFL, which is only on broadcast television. But otherwise, sure. I have no use for it.
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, I don't know if you keep up with this stuff. There's like a Hollywood and streaming services, media companies are having a huge cash crunch. So
I don't know if I believe that that's true. Like a cash crunch, like what, they have to cinch their belts and their family can't afford to eat?
They're broke.
Like, what's going on?
Like
they're
Warner,
broke? Who's broke? Netflix?
Warner Brothers is Warner Brothers actually is broke.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Disney's losing money hand over fist, and maybe they're not broke, but when a publicly traded company loses $120 billion, operates at $120 billion loss in a year.
Who lost $120 billion? Disney did?
Disney.
You're crazy.
No, I'm not.
Serious?
Look it up.
From what? What they lose it from?
Spending a lot of money and not raking enough in.
Yeah, don't make another Ant-Man movie, you idiots.
My point is, like, this golden age we've lived in the last 5-10 years of like all this abundant high budget content it's ending, at least temporarily, because the eyeballs just aren't there. Like apparently this Mandalorian show, which I'm watching and I love, like the numbers have been highly disappointing. But I think this is actually a good thing for public figures like ourselves, because there's going to be the less Mandalorian there is, the more people are going to like, oh, watch this idiot on YouTube in front of this raging homosexual in Illinois in front of his Blade Runner thing.
It better describe me too.
Yeah. I like that. Raging. You should start doing that. Raging homosexual.
Yeah. Raging homosexual. INTP. Just
like
describe yourself in different, easily accessible ways.
Like you're so homosexual, it's like contagious.
Yeah, it's like it is too. And it's like if you make eye contact for too long, you're gonna start thinking about your prostate. I can't say that on YouTube. Sorry.
Something. Speaking of queerness, something kind of new to me from being like publicly queer is like a lot of men just assume that I like want to have sex with them because I'm queer, and it's like, bro,
in my case,
not on your best day. Ooh, do you want to talk about how we met? But like, it's like
wait, I don't. Wait. No, I like this topic for a second though, because that is not something as much that I get. You have a sex appeal that's very apparent in like your content. Like you refer to it, it's part of your brand. You've got we can talk about OnlyFans and stuff too, right? It's like
yeah. I mean, hey, thanks for the plug.
OnlyFans, like you got the whole thing, right? And I think that you're definitely going to run into like the weirdos a lot more often.
But I'm talking about like straight people, straight men, or people who claim to be straight, who think that like just because someone is homosexual or bisexual, they want to have have sex with all men, specifically a chud like me or a chud like you. And it's like, bro, do you think every straight woman wants to sleep with you? Because I got news for you, they don't.
That's the problem, I think. Yeah, I think they probably do feel that way. Like, oh, I'm irresistible. Like, no, I promise, you look like a. No, I'm not gonna say that.
I say chud, which it's an old horror movie, cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
No, yeah, I've seen those. I've seen both of those damn movies. I used to love those movies. That was like my pay-per-view movie.
Chud and Chud 2.
The free thing, Chud and Chud 2. You could go through like on demand, and they had like free movies, and those were like the only two that I actually liked.
How tough is it? I know you grew up with religious parents, but that's not. I can just people. I think people have a general idea what that can be like as a queer person, even like straight people, just because we've all seen like after school specials or whatever about it. But what's it like being a gay man in a fairly rural part of the Midwest?
What
I've
compromised a lot.
What sucks about that?
I'd say my sex life has been comprised of compromise. I would say it's definitely a little odd. Growing up to it's worse, because it's like, I was like young when I downloaded Grindr. And
Right.
I was like, oh my God, this is like being in the locker room, but everybody's looking at me too. So it was weird. It's definitely weird. Growing up in like small towns, small cities, being gay is not great for like, because like everyone that I meet, it's like they want to move out of here or they're bitter that they live here. And it's like, that's not really what I want to like spend my life with, is like someone who's like upset about every facet of their life. So yeah, it's not great, but it's not the worst either. You can have sex pretty easily, which is great.
Love that for you.
Gay is way easier to have sex. I don't know. Like, I don't know how graphic we can get, but
I've noticed, because as someone with experiences on both ends of the spectrum, like and like I'm a decent looking dude, and I always dated and or slept with really good looking women, but like it is so much, and even with on the queer side of things, my tastes are pretty narrow. Even
taste.
Even with that, like it's so much easier to, couple or hook up with people as a queer person than as a straight male, especially.
Yeah.
So I can imagine even in like rural, like not, you're not rural, but like even if you were rural, like I'm sure like I would imagine it's easier to get laid as a gay man in Eastern Tennessee than it is for a super good looking guy with money who's straight in Washington D.C. on any given night, because the super good looking single guy could go out and be like, I'm gonna get laid tonight, and strike out. The gay guy in Eastern Tennessee can go, I'm gonna get laid tonight, and be successful.
And go to Steamworks or something.
Yeah. And
like drive an hour. You go to this gay spa and it's like sleep with like 5 people in one night. But no, yeah, I mean, so it's like it's in that regard it's easy. It's also like I'm attracted to older men, not even for the most part, like exclusively. So it's not. It's just difficult to find people who live in a town like this, a city like this, who are happy with where they are at the point they are at in their life, who are like the age range that I'm looking for. I'm sorry, like the guy that I'm dating, you guys, I'm dating, right? Like
I didn't.
In a relationship with someone. Yeah, so I have a boyfriend. I've been with him for like 7 years, but we're open. He lives in Florida, and
you've told me about him a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's 58 years old. So that's like the age where I'm like, it's like 50 is like that's like, to me, it's like, oh, he's right. That's gross to say, but I like him overripe. That's what I'd say.
You like what you like.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about what stops you from moving to, if not New York or LA, then Chicago or even Kansas City?
I hate Chicago.
Okay.
That's like, I thought I hated cities. Chicago's awful.
Okay, Indianapolis.
Cool. Indianapolis.
Milwaukee.
No, that's too many syllables, really. New York, I would move to if I could. It's so expensive. I mean, it's like, it's expensive. I do, but like I say, you have to remember you don't have the expense of a car and car insurance and gas. True. So I mean, that's definitely true, but like, it's like, I think like the cheapest place I saw in New York City was like $2,300
for a 1-bedroom.
No, I don't live in 1-bedrooms.
Oh, then
no, I'm just kidding. No, I live in a studio apartment, right? But like, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's just expensive. It's very expensive, and it's also like, if you don't have a plan to go somewhere and make it there and make it okay and be okay when you live there, it's like, it's just hard to move so far across the country with like no support system.
But what about like Indianapolis or sorry, too many syllables. But I guess it's. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. It sounds like on balance you kind of like where you are.
Yeah, I mean, I actually might move to New York eventually. Doug wants me to. He's the guy that I'm working for the rough takedown for the other.
I follow him on TikTok.
You do?
Yeah.
Did he follow you back?
Yeah, he's funny.
Okay, good. Okay, I just want to make sure. No, yeah, he's hilarious. He's great. He's tall. He's 6'5".
Oh, love that for him.
That man's tall. He's a tall man. And yeah, he's great, and he's trying to encourage me to move there. And to me, it's like, I feel like, I can live in Illinois and do like TikTok stuff and get the same engagement as I could if I moved to New York. You know what I mean? So it's like right now it's like rent's like cheap. You know, it's cheap here, so it's like why move when you can just make content wherever you are?
Yeah, and like sometimes like I'll fantasize about moving somewhere cheaper. Probably I wouldn't move. I would move to like a cheaper city if I did. But like ultimately like my family's here, so it just doesn't like it. That dog won't hunt.
Yeah, no, okay. So say that again, but then tell me what you mean after too.
That dog will hunt means like something would work, or like if you have an idea.
That dog won't hunt. It won't work.
I learned that from the show Mad Men.
Stop watching that stuff. It's poisoning you.
Okay. Well,
you're talking like you're from this. It's like that's like before you were born.
It takes place like 20 years before I was born, so you're not
wrong. No, but yeah. So I guess like I definitely had like the big city. Well, honestly though, I also am not a huge fan of like people are fine. They're fine. But if I want to be not around people, I need to have that opportunity, like to be like separated completely.
Well, Max, what if I told you that New York itself can be a very lonely and isolating place, even amidst all the people.
And describe that to me, because I think we're getting personal here, and I want to hear about it.
It's not even personal, and a lot of people say this. And in fact, I bet if you were to go into your TikTok search bar and type, TikTok should be paying us for this fucking podcast.
Yeah, damn.
Well, they should just be paying us in general more than they do. Yo,
definitely more than they do.
If you were to type into your Instagram search bar, New York loneliness, you'd get a lot of videos and stuff talking about like the isolation one can feel here. Part of it from like, it can either come from like not having enough money to participate in like with the cool kids, or just being so overworked to afford your lifestyle that you don't have a social life. But like there's a I think there's a unique isolation that comes with cities like this, and by cities like this I mean like world-class cities like New York or Paris or London,
or Indianapolis.
Not Indianapolis. Moscow, Tokyo, Beijing, Shanghai, like cities with
Rockford,
Peoria,
Champaign.
Champaign. They might as well call it the seventh borough.
Dayton. No, it's like I understand what you mean. I get that. I think it's more like I want to be able to have a cigarette without running into a human being. You know what I mean? It's like because I was staying in Greenpoint, and I had to go outside to smoke because I'm not going to smoke in this fucking house. And I go outside, and every single time I go outside, it's like there's like people walking by, and they're they don't say hi to you or anything, but I'm like.
Okay, I'm talking more about like. I'm talking more about like figurative and or spiritual loneliness and isolation.
No,
you're just mean
that's what I like. Physical isolation.
You don't
see another person if I don't want to see another person. You know what I mean?
So if you went to prison, would you be like, all right, can you put me in the hole?
Yeah. In the what?
You don't watch. You're not going to be seeing prison shows where you're going.
The hole.
Prison.
The hole. Okay.
Part 1 of my interview with Max. Hi5, you're still alive. Very soon there'll be a part 2. Max, this has been wonderful. Thank you. Love you, brother. It was just getting good as we had to go. I'm excited for next time. Love you, bro.
Okay. I'll talk to you soon.